Namaste, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram. You're on the right stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. First up, the United States has sharply increased its military footprint in the Middle East, deploying more than 50 fighter jets in the last 24 hours, even as it engages in a fresh round of diplomatic talks with Iran over Tehran's nuclear program. And also, the independent flight tracking data and military aviation monitors recorded multiple F-22s, F-35s, F-16 fighter jets heading towards the region along with several aerial refueling tankers, an indication that the aircraft are being positioned for sustained operations. Now, alongside the air deployment, the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier strike group, the largest in the American naval fleet, has departed the Caribbean and is now in the mid-Atlantic, heading towards the Middle East. The Ford is sailing with 3 guided missile destroyers, the USS Mahan, the USS Bainbridge, and the USS Winston Churchill. Now, based on its current location, the carrier group is likely more than a week away from the waters near Iran. The USS Abraham Lincoln and other major US air and naval assets have already been deployed in this region earlier in this year, now expanding Washington's military presence. What does this mean? The data from the tracking website Flight Tracker 24 on the 18th of Jan showed the movement of some US military aircraft flying from North America to air bases in Europe and the Middle East. Now, what are the US assets that are right in the Middle East if they were to consider a strike on Iran? Let's try and understand this. The United States maintains a significant military presence across the Middle East. In Turkey, the Incirlik Air Base hosts approximately 2,500 US troops, US personnel, serving as a critical hub for air operations and regional logistics. In Iraq, about 2,000 troops remain deployed. And these troops, have a look at this. Iraq, 2,000 troops. Syria, 2,000 troops. Kuwait, the strength is 13,000. It's one of the bigger air bases. The naval support activity in Bahrain, the strength is 7,000. The Al Udeid Air Base is one of the biggest air bases. This strength is about 13,000 again. Saudi Arabia strength is 3,000. And then there is a base in Oman, which has about 600 troops. So these are the US controlled base and also sites with US military presence. So these are all sites with US military presence, with the yellow ones. The red ones are all US military bases. So with this kind of heft, the Americans are totally trying to converge and surround Iran from all sides. And then they have also got across the about 2,000 kilometers away the Israelis, who will fly over the Jordanian airspace and then try and attack Iran like they did sometime last year when the 12-day war unfolded. So because of all of this, the Americans seem to have their place, everything in terms of set in place. Now, many are saying that over the weekend, we should have some level of action or attack by the Americans. Why? Because the ships are all around this region. And ships for joint naval exercises have also started, Iran is also flexing muscle. The Russians have joined in on this exercise. And the irony is that Trump is expected to announce a multi-billion-dollar reconstruction plan for Gaza, along with contributions from board members, with the president saying over the weekend that so far more than $5 billion have been pledged, without identifying the countries that have pledged this entire funding. So there are multiple things. 2,000 kilometers away, there is this Gaza Board of Peace, and on this side, the Americans are mounting up their entire presence. Now, why is this important, and why can there be any peace? Can there be any peace, and can there be a Gaza Board of Peace if there is fight and issues around the Iranian region? Let's try and understand that the Strait of Hormuz becomes very, very critical, viewers. Now, even as the American deployment increases, there is that narrow strait where there is Iran on one side, there is that international passage or pathway, and on the other side, there is a strip that belongs to Oman. Russia, China, Iran deploying ships in this entire Strait of Hormuz as part of a joint naval exercise. Many believe that ocean mines could be put in place to try and break down and try and damage ships, trade vessels, and block trade altogether. so that the Iranians say, if you make us suffer, we'll make the world suffer. Ships from all three nations will be conducting military drills in the Gulf and Oman and the northern Indian Ocean. The Strait of Hormuz is a very narrow sea passage between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, and this is located south of Iran. It separates Oman and the UAE. More than 20% of the world's crude oil and LNG, that is liquefied natural gas, is transported through this part of the ocean, and Iran controls its northern part. So that's the reason why many people are concerned. What's going to happen? Will there be peace like in the Gaza Board of Peace? As I take my chair, we'll sit down and we'll get in our guest viewers. Or is there going to be conflict and war brewing at this area? Now, numbers suggest, there are various indications, viewers. The numbers suggest that China has nearly 33% of its energy requirements coming through this Strait of Hormuz. Bharat has about 13%. If there is even a blockage for about 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be a huge dent in the entire supply chain of the world. So on the one hand, we are expecting Donald Trump to speak and address on the Gaza Board of Peace. On the other hand, there are questions of what's going to happen with Iran. Is this all nothing but flexing muscle and trying to psych the Iranians into submission? Or is there going to be a certain amount of war which may be longer than the 12-day war, but may not be as long as the Russia-Ukraine conflict? Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon with us, former GOC 15 Corps. We'll have Ambassador Deepak Vora joining us, and Vail Awad, senior journalist, also with us. My namaste to everybody. Thank you for your time. Ambassador Deepak Vora, war is happening, war is happening. They've been saying that for the last 2 months. The Iranians are saying, we are ready, we are ready. Is it happening, or is it just bluster?
Well, thank you very much, sir. Always a pleasure to be with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
I'm far away. I'm attending a destination wedding in Udaipur. Not mine. I've been married 48 years, but somebody else's. It's great fun. Let me just put it to you like this. 2 things have happened in the last 2 hours. The Prime Minister of Poland, where I was privileged to be your ambassador, Donald Tusk, whom I know well, he has asked Polish citizens in Iran to get the hell out of there as quickly as he can within the next 5 hours. And he says, after that, we may not be able to protect you.
Okay.
And second, Senator Lindsey Graham, who's known to be close to McDonald Trump, has just said that our ships are not there because it's a nice time of the year. The sentence that struck me was, the decision has been made. The timing is coming soon. Now, these two lead me to believe that whatever you, excuse me, you can argue till the cows come home, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Trump is a terrible fellow. America is this, that, and the other. War is imminent in the next 48 hours, sir.
But war at what cost? And can the Americans afford a conflict at a place where they are not going to put boots on ground? They're going to fight this from the waters and from the air. How do you see this panning out? Because the Iranians are also shoring up. The Iranians are also saying we're going to unleash our ballistics.
If that happens, then it's an attack on an American ship. And there's a thing which still exists. It's called NATO. And there's an Article 5 in that. You hit a NATO member's assets and all of NATO will descend. No, sir. The Iranians are bluffing. They are not going to be able to do this. Israel and America are going to attack combined. And as for boots on the ground, you may laugh at this. Where will American boots on the ground go? Well, I don't see them going through Iraq. Iran has been strengthening its defenses on the border. I don't see them going through Armenia. Sir, take it from me. I've been in that area. They'll be going in through Afghanistan, sir. And it's not necessarily American boots on the ground. Could well be Taliban. Now, you can argue and scream and terrible fellows, etc., not Islamic, and there's no solidarity, and the Palestinians are suffering. The issue is not the Palestinians. The issue is, are the Americans going to clobber the Iranians? The answer is yes.
They are. Okay. General Dhillon, your thoughts, sir?
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to fellow panelists and your viewers. Yes, I agree with the ambassador. The war is imminent because the push to the internal uprising or the revolution within for a regime change has not worked. It was tried very hard, and that was probably the non-lethal option, which didn't work out the way Americans wanted it to. And another thing which you also made a mention, that 2 weeks blockade can hit the world. We must forget, Iran has a war stamina.
Yeah.
They fought Iran-Iraq war for 10 years. So that, the inner strength of a soldier to last the war for that long is there in that military, if I dare say that.
Okay.
Notwithstanding that, as you very rightly mentioned, Strait of Hormuz, the southern side is with Oman, northern side is with Iran, and Bandar Abbas is further to the west of it, well within the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
And the warships inside the Persian Gulf, Persian warship is already there, is not a good sign for the merchant ships or the oil ships which are going to move out from there. And if Strait of Hormuz is mined, there will be accidents, there will be miscalculations, there will be misinterpretations, there will be mistaken identities. And that is going to escalate it further, as Ambassador was saying very rightly. So I think these are times to watch. And all these things of getting the citizens out and saying this and that, they're all posturing. Khomeini has also said that we will sink the American ships to the ground surface. So all these are the bluster statements, they are the posturing. Basically, the whole game is to secure the energy lines here and posturing west. And in this whole game, as was also brought up by the ambassador, Pakistan is going to play a very crucial role. In like Iraq, Armenia, Afghanistan, and the sea routes doesn't work out, the only route which can be bought with dollars is from the east, and that is Pakistan. May it be airspace, may it be air bases, to open in another front to divide the air defense of Iran. That is very crucial. If the air defense of Iran is only targeted or facing towards Israel, then it's a very formidable air defense.
Bagram, Bolari,
So,
Nur Ali
Pakistan is
Khan
going to
and
be very-
Sukur. Many are saying these could come into play. The Afghan and Afghan territory may come into play. That's what Ambassador Vora was also saying. So you believe that there will be a move from there. The Israelis will make a move. The Americans will make an aerial assault. And somewhere the Iranians will be crunched for money. See, the time of Iran-Iraq war, the times were different. Iran still had access to money and funds. Right now, they're going through an economic crunch that nation has never seen before. $1 is equal to 12.5 riyal, last I had checked. 12.5 lakh riyal, 12.5 lakh riyal, sir. So if they don't have the money, how are they going to fight this, be in it for the long run? General Dhillon.
See, money part, if you see the things which have happened in the last 24 to 48 hours, the Russia, the China, they have shown their interest in the area and they have staked their own image. So if it gets into a long haul, I'm very sure either overtly or covertly, the money will come from Russia and China, including the weapon systems. But the point is, will it go a long haul? Will America be interested in a long haul, which I don't see as a military man? It will be a swift, it will be a precise, it will be a very, very surgical strikes on the places of interest, including the nuclear installations and their economic installations, to make sure Iran does not get up again for the next 1 decade. So it's not going to be like Russia-Ukraine, it's not going to be like Iran-Iraq, it's going to be very, very precise strikes. The data is already there with the Americans and the Israelis. The only thing is, how will it impact the neighborhood? We are going to be impacted, like or not. Our oil prices are going to soar, like it or not, and that's going to happen to the rest of the world also. So it's going to impact economically the whole world. It's going to impact militarily the region surrounding the place of operations. And it's a very volatile area. And best thing for the world would be if this does not happen. But that looks unlikely as of now, the way things are.
If it was not supposed to happen, it would have not happened, or this build-up would not have happened. Wailawad, your thoughts here. Viewers, I'm just, even as Dr. Wailawad makes his point and shares his perspective, 4 days ago, when I had checked, it was 12,25,000 change. That was that many riyal for $1. So $1 was equal to 12,25,000 odd riyal. Today, just now I checked, I said it's at 12.5 lakhs. It is 12,86,480 odd riyal is equal to $1. So in 4 days, it slid another 40,000, 50,000 riyal. So while Awad, Iranian people are really hurting because the rial is also sliding. There is economic hardship. There are riots. There is a lot of unrest and unease. There is also the suppression of the Bash militia and also what the IRGC has unleashed internally. Plus the fact that the Iranians have said, or at least the Khamenei regime has said, that if you try and unseat us, we will destroy Iran and the neighborhood. So they may just put out mines right through the Strait of Hormuz, damage trade, and they'll say, "Hum to doobenge sanam, tumhe bhi le doobenge." That kind of an attitude, how dangerous is it, Dr. Wailawad?
Well, I think the danger is from the United States and Israel itself, because there is nothing, who wanted the war in this region except Israel. None of the current countries in the region wanted to have a war with the American, starting a war in West Asia, and everybody saying we do not want. There are 80,000 American soldiers are stationed in the Arab countries, so all the Arab countries will be a legitimate target for the Iranians. So therefore, nobody else except the United States and Israel wanted to go for this kind of a war, which is a crazy war. If it goes, it will burn the whole region, because Strait of Hormuz will be the first affected, the global trade will be affected. You have already stated that, but that's why we should be blaming Iran for that. I mean, Iran have been guarding the Strait of Hormuz for decades. Nothing happened. But it's only when the United States wanted to have the international control on all the corridors all over the world, that should give us the indication that it's not the nuclear issue of Iran, which they are after. In fact, if you look at the negotiations between the American officials and the Iranian, you will see that Americans are asking the Iranian to sell their oil in dollars to come back. It's only to the United States. So let's see what happened in Venezuela, Nigeria, Libya, and Greenland, and name it. And the United States wanted to grab all the world and let them challenge Russia and China and the rest of Asia, which depend on the oil from this region. So I think what we are witnessing here is a war imposed on the Americans themselves, because till now the Americans are reluctant to go for a war, but Israelis are pushing with Epstein file against Trump, blackmailing him that you should go for the full-fledged war, because we know there are lots of tapes still to be revealed about Trump actions in the islands of Epstein. So we do not want it to go into that conspiracy theory, but I can tell you and assure you that the Americans are giving it twice thinking about it. Having said that, I would say the building of the military so much so that it is a clear indication that America, yes, is going for a war, but at what cost? You can start the war, but it's not a war, it's a swift war. It is a long-haul war. It's a long-haul war in the sense of the American, because the destruction of the infrastructure of Iran is meant to destroy their military, ballistic missile technology, their infrastructure, disintegrating Iran, weakening of Iran, because what you wanted to achieve in this war is to make Israel the dominant force in the region. They already took on Syria, they're taking Lebanon, they're taking Iraq, they're taking Jordan, they're taking on Palestinian, nothing left in the region except Iran. So once Iran falls, then the domino effect will have on the other countries. So look at the scenario on the region, and you will understand that it's nothing, no more talking of a nuclear issue or it's a ballistic missile, it's the technology, it's the scientist, it's the Iranian oil.
So till the time Iran is tamed, there can't be a board of peace. There can't be peace in Gaza.
No.
Because one of the other conditions that the Americans were insisting on is that Iran stop backing the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, etc., all their proxies, which the Iranians have refused. So is that going to happen only if the Khamenei and this entire regime is changed? Or is it possible that the Khameneis are moved away from political power, they remain religious heads, but the politics, etc., the real politics is controlled by somebody who's pliant to the United States? Ambassador Deepak Vora.
Well, sir, I just wanted to say I heard the outstanding General Dillon. They don't make them any more like him, sir. He's outstanding. He's brilliant in every way, and so are you. I heard Professor Awad also. Why are we putting all this together? This is the biggest armada they've put together since the invasion of Iraq. Sir, they are not there for a chocolate party. Take it from me. What is going to happen? Yes, oil prices will go up. Who's going to benefit? The big oil fellows. Defense industry in America will be dancing the Bhangra, or their equivalent of the Bhangra, because more and more stuff is going to be sold. And the third, instability in that region, which everybody today attributes to Iran. Iran has no business. Take it from me with due apologies to Dr. Awad. They have no business getting involved in the Middle East. They are not a part of the Middle East. He talked about the domino effect. I don't know what that means. If Iran goes, what's left there? Which country dares to oppose the United States? The dominoes have already fallen. They have bases in so many places you pointed out. There are no more dominoes waiting to fall. But the regime in Iran, sir, it's reviled. Internally and externally, Iran doesn't have a friend. The Chinese hate Islam. The Russians hate Islam. You know, the Russians did that to the Chechens. The Chinese are doing it to the Uyghurs. They're only going to support Iran because they think it will weaken the United States. It's a kind of quid pro quo. You're doing this to me, Tiger, in Ukraine, and you're doing it to me in the South China Sea, and I'm going to do it to you. The Americans are smart, sir. They'll go in, swift action, they'll decapitate the regime, and they'll come out. Sir, the next 48 hours, I hope it doesn't happen, because I wouldn't like that to happen. But nevertheless, I think you and I and General Dillon and Professor Awad, we are going to be discussing, hey, the Americans have attacked, now what? So let's see what happens after that.
Yeah, but the next 48 hours, can they really dismantle Iran's ballistics and nuclear missile centers and its heads, General Dillon? It will have to be too far coordinated, too effectively coordinated, because the Iranians don't have one or two ballistic missiles. They have an arsenal of more than 2,000, and they have spread their silos all across Iran. So from wherefore they start sending them, and in which direction they send these silos or these ballistic missiles, we can't tell. And the Americans can't game it beyond a certain level. Even in the 12-day war, were they effectively able to damage Iran's nuclear program, contrary to what they claimed? Because the Iranians seem to have enriched uranium up to 60%. That's what's alarming everybody, because they're just about 30 steps away from weaponizing uranium. General Dillon, is it going to be as easy as in 48 hours or because Iran is not a Pakistan?
And in the next 48 hours, that is by Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon as per Indian times, the second carrier support group is going to be in the region. And that is when there is a likelihood of initiation of operations. Now, after that, how much time it takes for the operations to begin is anyone's guess. And as regards the point which you make, where all, what all, how, if you've seen in that previous skirmish which they had when the Israelis came in, there were people from within the Israeli assets who are popped up, who are firing rockets and missiles from within Iran to take on the targets pointedly. So there in Iran, all the sort of people who are not very happy with the regime, they will be brought into action. External military hardware will be thrown into Israel, missiles will be thrown, and all those things will happen. The economic pressure will automatically build up. So it's not going to be a single domain war, it's going to be a multi-domain war, which includes narrative building and the maneuvering of the forces, as also destruction of economic assets, military assets, and strategic assets. So it is going to take time after it starts. 48 hours, 72 hours, 96 hours. My guess would be it will take minimum 7 to 10 days to bring Iran to a situation or a level where it does not get up again for next 1 decade at least.
Now, what is that level, General Dillon? In your assessment, what is that level?
That level is Iran is not able to ballistic missiles or nuclear weapons which can hit the American homeland. Americans are least bothered if it hits anyone else's homeland. They're most bothered if it hits American homeland. So they will make sure all the technology or the hardware storage or the manufacturing hubs will be destroyed. The economic assets will be destroyed so that they can't support their nuclear and strategic missile programs for at least 1 decade. And then they will have to probably start all over afresh. And starting all over afresh in these things is very difficult, because these days monitoring, the transparency available is very much there. Gone are the days of when the inspector used to physically come on ground and go watch your tunnels and other things. Today, all these things are available on the laptops across the world. So once destroyed, it will take a long time to rebuild it.
But in this case, while Awad, will America find support from the larger Iranian population? are more number of people waiting for the ouster of this entire Khamenei regime and this entire Iranian regime, current regime, and a better government in place or a better system in place? Or is this going to trigger a massive Shia movement across the world, which could only add on to perhaps the Sunni radicalization that we are seeing?
I think what we have to understand here that Iran is not a failed state, but whatever may you talk about the Iranian government is managing the system very well despite the harsh economy. Remember that this has not happened today. It has happened since 2006 when the American and the European imposed the sanction on Iran, and 2015 they have some relief, and then again 2018 when the President Trump came for tenure, he again imposed unilaterally the sanctions on Iran. So the sanctions have been there for years, and the Iranians still provide free electricity, free medication, and subsidized food. And we know we having family in Iran. We understand the hardship they're living. But when it comes to attacking the Iranian as a country, trust me, more people will rally behind the government. That's what happened during the 12 days last year when the American and the Israeli attacked, despite the differences with the government. And I think what the American and the Israeli vocally and openly talking now of sabotaging, of supporting, they have lots of mercenaries inside Iran. They are moving people from Azerbaijan, from Mujahideen Khalq and Kurdistan, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan. It's all to destabilize Iran from within, because the economic sanction did not make this regime fall. And the economic sanctions did not make them also abandon their ballistic missile technology. All this will give you a replica of what happened to Iraq, Anand. You remember when America invaded Iraq, they targeted the scientists, they destroyed the infrastructure of Iraq, they dismantled the military and the forces, and then they made Iraq into three Iraq, and we don't know what's going to happen in the region. So I think the Iranian will still rally behind their government, and I don't think anybody will like to see America taking down the country, not the government.
Right. In this case, but Ambassador Deepak Vora, as we come to the back end of this conversation, another 4 or 5 minutes that we have, I want to focus on what happens with Bharat. What position should Bharat take? Because there is a sizable Shia population in Bharat. There is also a trade equation. And the Iranians are not Johnny-come-latelys. It's an old civilizational connect also that Bharat has. They are the other side of the Saraswati civilization. Their great-great-grandfathers or whatever, the old ancients. What current shape and etc. it is today, there is still a connect. So how does Bharat negotiate this?
Yeah, what you're saying makes eminent sense, but I don't know why the Shias here should get excited. What have they got to do? How many of them are going to fight to defend Iran? They are welcome to go and fight over there. The Americans and the Israelis beat the hell out of them. So this is going to be an operation from the air like has not been seen in the last 30 years. I'm only reminded of the invasion of Normandy when the Allies landed there. They are going to have a massive display. The Iraq one was shock and awe. This will be shockest and awest. You're going to see a massive display of American firepower. And as far as we are concerned, oil prices will spike. There's no question about it. Iran dare not close the Straits of Hormuz. 50% of China's oil passes through that. The Chinese will say, buddy, you are doing this to me. All right, now I'll show you what I can do to you. No, they're not going to do it. They'll threaten. And so as far as the people of Iran, I have friends across the region. I've served 20 years there. They'd be very happy. No one is talking about dismantling Iran. They're talking about dismantling the mullah regime. They are not liked, sir, at all, whatever you might say. Once the mullahs go, whether the Shah's son comes or I go or you go or General Dillon goes or Professor Awad goes, whoever heads the government over there, you're going to see it'll be much, much better than what they have. The Iranians are not used to suffering. They fought the war immediately after the mullahs came I was there, sir, when the Shah was kicked out in 1979. I know exactly what happened. And thereafter, the mullahs transferred the hatred for the Shah into hatred for the United States and Israel, big Satan, small Satan. But that is ending now because it hasn't given them anything in the last 40, 45 years. What have they got? The prices, the exchange rate that you mentioned, and the Iranian government did something fantastic, said we'll give every Iranian family $7 a month so they can have food on the table. I mean, is this some kind of a cruel joke on your people? So I believe that sir, as they say, pet bada papi hai, sir. and the fate is going to respond. आपने तो बोला था हम डूबेंगे तुझे भी ले डूबेंगे सनम, but पापी पेट की खातिर you'll see what the Iranian people how they will react. Sir.
पेट पापी है कि पाप का घड़ा भर गया. That there are different ways. There are different ways of looking at this. But always a pleasure speaking with you, gentlemen. I'm going to request General Dhillon and Ambassador Vora to please stay on because we come to this part of the world again around our borders. We'll talk Bangladesh, but while Awad, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, in the recently held Bangladesh polls, the Jamaat-e-Islami, leading a 11-party alliance, registered its best-ever performance with 31.76% votes and 68 seats, even as Bangladesh Nationalist Party managed a landslide win to make Tariq Rahman the Prime Minister. Jamaat-e-Islami wins, which made it the primary opposition, came primarily from areas along the Bharat-Bangladesh border. News 18 now decodes how this happened. According to intelligence sources, the win was a result of 5 factors. 1. Land grab. According to sources, surge in Hindu land seizures hit border districts of Bangladesh facing West Bengal. Over 150 families displaced in Gopalganj alone after 2024. The Vested Property Act fueled long-term marginalization of minorities. Secondly, violence against Hindus. According to sources, 2,711 incidents of violence were reported against Hindus since August 2024 after Sheikh Hasina's departure. These incidents, including arson in Rajshahi's Bidyadarpur village, where Pramanik, a local Hindu resident, was beaten and his hand broken by mobs. Displacement. A total of 150 Hindu families were displaced nationwide since August 2024 due to violence and land seizures. Border districts like Bagherhat and nearby zones seeing repeated incidents of homes looted, vandalized or occupied. The fourth factor, fear. Lynching of Dipu Chandra Das in Ghazipur on the 18th of December 2025, where the 27-year-old Hindu garment worker was beaten, hung from a tree and set on fire over blasphemy allegations, was systematic and forced many Hindus in the areas like Maulvi Bazar to abstain from voting due to safety concerns. This is what sources are telling CNN News 18. Manoj Kumar Gupta getting us these details. The fifth one, voter registration. This created an atmosphere of fear that discouraged Hindu voter registration and participation in the February 12 polls, and it was also forcing displacements in the border districts like Bagherhat and Gopalganj, where Hindu families faced land seizures by mobs, and over 47 instances happened since 2024, August 2024, after this entire upheaval and the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. Now, these areas are with economically weaker communities and reduce their electoral influence in constituencies with 15 to 20% Hindu populations. Over 133 attacks on Hindu temples, including vandalism in Chittagong during November 2024 protests led by Jamaat-e-Islami affiliates. In Shariatpur, where Hindu businessman was hacked and set on fire, further created fear in minorities from public political processes. The Vested Property Act, which enables arbitrary grabs amid impunity, affected 43% of Hindu households. Recently, this has intensified in Bagherhat, increased displacements and caused economic instability. This fear of land grab indirectly discouraged Hindu families from staying or returning to vote. Now, let's go across to our guests and then we'll get you the other inputs of why this spillover is likely to happen on the border areas in Bengal and in Assam, mirroring the other side of the Bangladesh border. Kulbir Krishanji is also joining us now. General Dhillon, you have served in this region, you know the history of this entire infiltration, the surge that happens, and more importantly, the Jamaat and its radicals who try to settle in these areas. How do you see this spilling over into Bengal and Assam? Do you believe this is a national security threat, especially if you see it from the map form? We'll try and get you that image of the map and how the Jamaat is dotting right across the borders with Bharat.
Good evening, Anand. Good evening to Mr. Vora, fellow panelists and your viewers once again. Yes, the recent election results in Bangladesh, where BNP has won more or less a landslide. Jamaat-e-Islami has won about 65, 70 odd seats. Now, with this type of a mix, and as you very rightly pointed out, Jamaat's influence is all along the border with India. And Jamaat is a known, it's not that Deobandi, it's a known Pakistan Jamaat-e-Islami extension. It's a non-ISI stooge. So the northeast of India, all the seven sisters, where insurgents in the past few decades has been very well controlled and under check. Has returned, except for few incidents here and there.
Huh.
The transparency, people are flourishing, everything is there, the economy is doing well.
Huh.
Now with Jamaat in
Can't hear him.
Yeah. I
which
think,
would
yeah,
be
he's coming.
carrying out activities inside India. Understanding that India has its security grid in place, we have the border security there, we will be able to handle it. Now, more importantly, the point which is a discussion is, will the BNP play the Jamaati tune? Is this a new BNP or is it the same age-old BNP which is going to be, controlled by Jamaati thinking? There is a new chapter which has opened up, and let me assure one thing, or say one thing more for the information of the viewers. People say Bangladesh is landlocked. I say Bangladesh is India locked.
Yeah.
We have 4,000 kilometers of land border with Bangladesh, and the sea coast is also under Indian Navy's control from the Indian shores, as well as Andaman and Nicobar, our static aircraft carrier group inside the Bay of Bengal. So there should be no doubt about in anyone's mind that Bangladesh can flex the muscles and get away with it. No, sir. Bangladesh is India locked, and it's only in Bangladesh's interest to be friendly with India, may it be trade, may it be economy, may it be prosperity, may it be waters going inside Bangladesh for their survival. So Bangladesh has to depend on India on each and everything. Radicalization is not the only policy of government. I think the times have changed, and we might see a new chapter with a new government in place.
That's a big might, sir. B-M-I-G-H-T, because the same might in another meaning is going to be used by the incumbent. So, might here and might there reflect two different possibilities altogether. Ambassador Deepak Vora.
Absolutely.
So, General Dillon has put it across so brilliantly. I've served there. I have lots of friends in that benighted country at the moment. The damage was done by that mad fellow, Mohammed Useless Khan. You know it very well. He was a hardcore jihadi. By the way, is this true? You might be able to tell me that he and his advisor, whoever was his cabinet, have been banned from leaving Bangladesh because there are allegations that they siphoned out billions of dollars from the country.
Yeah.
If that is true, then it's karma coming home to haunt this son of a gun. May I also put it to you bluntly like this? What does he gain? What does Bangladesh gain by offending India? General Saab pointed out 52 rivers that Bangladesh needs originate in India. The Ganga Waters Treaty is going to be up for renewal by the end of this year. They need energy from us. They need food from us. And then, apart from being India locked, they have, I think, 272-kilometer border with Myanmar that is now under the control of the
Arakan.
What is that? The Arakan army. And, sir, the Arakans, I know them. They are hardcore Buddhists. Already shelling and fighting is going on the border. So they are in trouble over there. Now, this guy, can we trust him? Well, the Russians had an old proverb, Doverai no proverai, which means trust but verify. Because in 2004, we had intercepted the they had found the largest, you remember the shipment of arms, and he was supposed to be involved, although the Jamaat was blamed and several people were were sentenced to death, etc. He's supposed to be an arms dealer. Corrupt like hell, we all know that. Spent 17 years, but maybe comes back reformed to see that the world he left, our region that he left, has now totally changed. And if he has any sense, he'll be looking at what's happening in New Delhi, even as we speak. It's called the AI Impact Summit. Impact, not security and not this and that, the impact. If he has any sense, he will understand that he has nothing to lose by befriending India and everything to lose by being a jihadistani stooge.
But that is Tariq Rahman. The Jamaat and this lot have a different game. They are in it for a long game.
His military will take care of Jamaat, sir. They are no fighters.
As of now,
His
the
military will
BJP,
take
the
care of
Bangladesh border force, they don't stop anybody from spilling over from there to here, but anybody who's wanting to go back, they are shooting them. They are blocking them. They want the borders to be porous because for them this is good, because they believe it serves a purpose. A lot of the radical Razakar-like thought has seeped into the Bangladesh military also. It's 50-50 split, even there. Not discrediting the uniform, but the thought process and the ideology that is driving those who are wearing it today. There is a shift there. What we are seeing, if you look at the census data, and I'm just going across to this before I bring in Kulbir Krishnanji, we've got another aspect. Now, this is what is happening in Bangladesh. How is the impact happening in Bharat? Now, intel agencies are issuing red flag in West Bengal post-Bangladesh elections. Agencies say Rohingya issues, infiltration, terror networks, demographic changes in West Bengal will affect the 2026 Bengal Assembly polls. According to intel agencies, the ISI with Jamaat and Rohingya using Jamaat's Satkira and Chuadanga seats to push infiltrators into Nodia, Murshidabad. Jamaat's radical spread in Rajshahi will be used to activate sleeper cells in the North 24 Parganas to influence voter turnout during the West Bengal polls. Malda's Muslim share estimated at 55 to 60% due to cross-border migration. This with an aim for demographic alterations and terror group sleeper cells settlement via Rohingya networks. Now, the main idea is to disrupt 2026 West Bengal elections through sleeper cells in Malda. After Bangladesh elections, there will be arson, and also there will be the ARSA, that is the ARSA, RSO and JMB coordination in Cox's Bazar. This will have a spillover impact in Uttar Dinajpur with madrasa links in Birbhum as hubs. Now, this is going to activate unrest and also threaten electoral integrity in North Bengal constituencies. Intel reports also highlight Pakistan, China, Bangladesh ties targeting the Siliguri region via the Kurigram air base. Jamaat's ideological infiltration to West Bengal's borders will have potential for communal riots in areas like Jalpaiguri. Now, this is going to impact voter safety and Trinamool Congress's hold in 2026. Steps have been taken recently. Large number of undocumented Bangladeshis have returned through Hakimpur border checkpost in North 24 Parganas during the Election Commission's special intensive revision. BSF reported that 150 to 200 people crossing back daily after verification, biometric checks, criminal record screening. So there is a scrutiny which is in place. But 200-300 or a few thousand Kulbir Krishnanji going back does not account for a few crores who are already rooted here now.
In fact, the number of Bangladeshis living in India has been estimated very widely, from 3 crores to 5 crores. We'll not go into that. The fact is that there are illegal immigrants from Bangladesh living in India, particularly in Bengal and also in Assam. There are also Jamaati links across the border into India. You might recall a few years back, a bomb-making factory was recovered in which, while they were making bombs, a bomb exploded and the mastermind fled to Bangladesh before he could be caught. They were linked with the Jamaat-e-Islami. So what happens is that we have our work cut out for us. All the things which you mentioned may happen or may not happen, but our job is to prevent that from happening. And the BSF, and not only the BSF, we have the entire, the educational system, the medical system, the other grassroots workers have to employ themselves such that Indian citizens get what they are required to get, but illegal immigrants and others do not get the services which they are not entitled to, and which they are reported to the BSF or to the concerned authorities for detection, deportation.
See,
and
but
things
here's
like
what's
that.
happening on ground. On ground is that these are people who have entrenched themselves over the last. It's an organized network, sir. The BSF identifies these people, but they are roaming
Yes,
around the
there is
streets
a
because the
mafia.
local police don't put them behind bars. They don't send them back. They entrench themselves,
Anand, there is
and
a
this is a
mafia
full cut money syndicate which is there, which is running this entire game, and it's happening since the time of the left, and now it's been perfected in the current environment too. Kulbir ji, yes.
Yes, there is a mafia which is paid to do all these things and which facilitates the entry of immigrants, particularly to Malda and Murshidabad, and from that they catch trains and go all over India. But there are hopeful signs. The BNP coming is much better than the Yunus government. The Yunus government, in fact, had given open season to the radicals to attack Hindus, as you yourself mentioned, more than 2,700 incidents involving attacks on minorities. So now that the BNP has come, not that we expect BNP to be a knight in shining armor, but we expect it to be a bit fair and, not strengthen the hands of its principal opposition party, the Jamaat, by, encouraging radicals. So it has there's a convergence of interest between India and the BNP to keep the Jamaat in check, and we have to make use of that diplomatically and on the ground also. The situation is not so bad as is being made out. The fact is that we had peaceful elections all the time, and I'm sure the next election will also be peaceful.
It's not even about the, sir, the
West
idea
Bengal
is not,
standards.
but we had recently put out this, that they have also remodeled their entire engineering pattern. It's not violent now. It's about seeding themselves socially, getting into policy making positions, and slowly increasing their numbers far ahead, far above the actual TFR ratio. If you look at the surge in population, we know that it is inorganic. And that's how, once the demographic takeover happens, then they control policy, they control politics, they control the entire region. Then at that time, there doesn't need to be a forceful acquisition of land, nor does there need to be violence. Just one incidence of violence, of lynching of a Hindu, is going to send the remaining 100 families out of that area, like they did. It's the same template that they have followed in Bangladesh, which they can follow in Dhubri, which they can follow in Malda, they can follow in Murshidabad. So at that time, people will say, oh, there is no violence. They came in. How did they seed themselves here? How did they become policy makers? How did they become MPs? They start from the wards. They win the wards, they win the councils, they win the corporations, and then they win the assembly. That's the thing. And it's a long game that's being played. Are we even wise to this long game, Ambassador Vora?
No,
I would say yes, as long as we have people like Mr. Krishnan in our security setup, and as long as we have people like General Dillon. I think we understand what they're trying to do. And as very rightly pointed out, that the BNP and, by Mr. Krishnan, that the BNP and India have a combined interest in emasculating the Jamaati fellows. It'll happen, sir. They'll get tired. How many will they push across? Yes, there is uncontrolled population explosion in Bangladesh. They don't have enough land, etc. They want to push them into the relatively fertile areas of India. But I think very strict border security. 90% of the border, if I'm not mistaken, has already been fenced. The remaining 10% will get done very, very quickly. And whatever the West Bengal government says, good luck to them. My own feeling is it's a combination. One will be the diplomatic initiative, which we'll take in Dhaka. We've already started. Second will be the security. And third, I believe, sir, that we should make it very clear to Bangladesh, the price of messing with my security will be too high for them to pay.
Now, this General Dhillon, you would have seen that in Jammu and Kashmir also, it's beyond politics. There is a stated underlying objective, and that objective doesn't care.
Absolutely, Anand. I'll try and bifurcate this whole thing, but Mr. Vora has also spoken and the other panelists, into three different aspects. One is the political aspect. Political parties, we all know which all, have brought in these people as their political elector or vote bank, so that they continue to be in power in the member parliament elections, MLA elections, local bodies, and what have you. Second is the economic angle. Most of these people who have come and settled in these areas have come for economic reasons. They find livelihood here is better, they earn more, their children get better education, and their families have future for it. And coupled with this is the third angle, that the security angle. That is where what we are discussing is very relevant. The elections, if they disrupt the Bengal elections, if there's a violence in Bengal elections, they will get exposed. So these sleeper cells will lie low. Bengal election violence is not their aim. Two big incidents.
Oh, we lost General Dhillon there.
Operate from
Okay,
these
he's back.
caverns where local police is not targeting them.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. I can hear you now. Go ahead,
They-
please.
You've lost him again.
Yeah.
I'm going to just check if he's back with us so that he can complete his point. Yes, yes, General Dhillon. Yes, go ahead, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
So second aspect is people come for better economic life and better for the children. Yeah. Second is they come for the economic opportunities and better education for the children. But most dangerous part is they come in, sort of camouflaged as sleeper cells, and they are not going to be involving themselves with violence in Bengal election, because then the bigger game will be, sort of compromised. They will operate from these areas because they have the political patronage there of the local police. And they will establish their sleeper cells all across India. And when as ISI, through Jamaat-e-Islami, will tell them to spring up, that is the bigger worry from security point. We need to be very harsh. We need to be very ruthless in identifying these sleeper cells and send them backpacking, or
Right.
put the cases on them in Indian courts and let them languish in our jail a lifetime.
Well, there has to be some sort
Because
of
we
deterrent.
can't afford to have these sleeper cells all along our borders,
Yeah.
and who can create damage in the whole of India.
Along with the physical deterrent and the material deterrent, there has to be an ideological deterrent also that that Bharat has to think of, so that this is stemmed, this stops. What we can do is put this and shine the spotlight on it and put it front and center for viewers to consider, and those who are watching this broadcast to consider that this is a serious challenge, because these are people who are playing the long game. Not 5, 10, 15 years, over 5, 6 generations. That's the long game that they're willing to play, and they will wait in patience. They'll wait till the time is right to strike, but till then they will continue to organize, and that's how it works. It's a global toolkit. Let's hope that the powers that be are wise to this, and they have ways to try and counter this and keep Bharat secure. To all our guests, thank you very much. To our viewers, thank you very much. We've run out of time. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Across and shifting focus to French President Emmanuel Macron, who is here in India. He's giving out details over India and France's Rafale deal. Let's cut across.
Et c'est pour ça que tous les partis politiques qui, à un moment ou à un autre, justifient en leur sein ou à leur périphérie des mouvements qui pratiquent la violence sous prétexte que la République ne ferait pas assez ceci ou cela, commettent à chaque fois une faute grave. Grave. Et donc là, en l'espèce, c'est un mouvement d'action violente qui est mobilisé à sa tâche pour que les conditions du respect de chacun, de la sécurité soient assurées. Mais chacun a sa part de responsabilité.
Est-ce que vous appelez à ne signer aucune alliance avec LFI ?
Ensuite, il y a de l'autre côté à l'extrême droite également des mouvements violents. Ces mouvements doivent être combattus, continuer d'être éradiqués, et rien ne saurait les justifier. Mais n'entrons pas dans un face-à-face. Et quant aux autres commentaires politiques que je vois, je suis toujours frappé de voir que les gens qui sont nationalistes, qui ne veulent pas qu'on les embête chez eux, sont toujours les premiers à commenter ce qui se passe chez les autres. Que chacun reste chez soi et les moutons seront bien gardés.
Ça, c'est pour Georges Meloni. Monsieur le Président, le frère Sambou a été arrêté à son domicile ce matin dans le cadre de l'affaire Epstein. Quel est votre commentaire?
Je ne vais pas faire plus de commentaires, évidemment, ça, j'imagine combien ça peut choquer le peuple britannique. Après, la justice passe, il y a une volonté qui est de laisser la justice travailler, de transparence, et donc je n'ai pas de commentaires à faire qui puissent...
Comment on dit que cette brutalisation va passer de 2027 pour éviter ce face-à-face?
Mais en prenant tous ses responsabilités, je le dis, là, c'est un moment de responsabilité pour toutes les formations politiques. Quiconque veut défendre ses idées, aller aux urnes, convaincre, n'a pas le droit d'utiliser la violence. Quiconque veut défendre ses idées, quels que soient ses idéaux, et je peux être en accord, en désaccord, vous pouvez être en accord, en désaccord, ils sont à respecter. Rien ne justifie la violence. Et donc, quelques responsables politiques, quelques partis politiques qui est ambigu avec des mouvements violents, qui est ambigu avec des groupes qui pratiquent la violence, portent une responsabilité gravissime. Et donc, je les appelle tous à la responsabilité, à lever ces ambiguïtés, à interdire eux-mêmes tous les groupes qui, en leur sein, pratiquent cette violence, à les fermer. La justice, de toute façon, fera son travail. L'administration le fera pour les dissolutions. Et je les appelle tous à ramener les esprits à la fois à la décence et au calme. La décence, parce qu'un jeune homme vient de mourir. Et la décence, c'est d'abord d'être aux côtés de sa famille, de ses proches, et de dire qu'il n'y a rien qui justifie de tuer un jeune homme. Et les opinions ne justifient pas de tuer un jeune homme. On peut, encore une fois, les partager, ne pas les partager. Et ensuite, je ne crois pas à l'émeute permanente. La République, ça n'est pas ça. Et donc, tous, je les appelle au calme. Si nous voulons une vie démocratique apaisée, nous avons des élections municipales qui arrivent. Je vois de plus en plus, à la fois de maires sortants, de candidats qui sont aujourd'hui agressés. Je veux ici